percussionist here, tapping in for lesson 8 of the very first semester in 2024. Super excited about this particular lesson because it covers a subject very near and dear to me. These are the ancient traditions of drumming. This is brushwork and this is the press roll. Today I'm going to be covering a couple of concepts from the great Ed Thigpen and Philly Joe Jones. I want to start out by reading something from the Ed Thigpen book. The use of brushes is not new. I have been told that as early as the 1920s, the brushes were becoming an integral part of the drummer's equipment. It would be impossible for any of us to develop without the influence of others. I would like to acknowledge some of the men who have had the greatest influence on my approach to playing brushes. My father, Ben Thigpen, Joe Jones, Denzel Best, Art Blakey, Buddy Rich, Max Roach, Shelly Mann, and Elvin Jones. One cannot help but be influenced by these great artists. Since the emergence of rock music, which for the most part requires heavy drumming, the brushes were set aside, or for the most of the young players who began playing during this period have never been used at all. In 1965, I wrote a book entitled Ed Thigpen, Talking Drums, in which was included a few pages of diagrammed brushstrokes. It was suggested that I do a book totally devoted to brush technique. So, the very formative part of this particular thing from Ed Thigpen says a lot about who created it and why it was created, and then obviously how it sort of became a bygone tradition, somewhat of a language that is almost dying. But we keep it revived by people like me and by the brushes being what they are, which is a resilient household item that came into being in the 19th and 20th century from the humble beginnings of fly swatters, not unlike the shape of these, but different materials, and were then placed on newspaper to create a shh type sound. And it was used to propel the band forward and to create interesting rhythmic textures without getting too much in the way of the limited recording technology of that time. Very versatile and very pleasant to the ears, brushes became a household name when accompanying singers and when accompanying small groups like Ed Thigpen says, in the 20s. We can, of course, use brushes in contemporary styles, such as this. We can put some backbeat on it. We can, apply our creative minds doing whatever we want in any style with the brushes. But back in the 20s, they were playing things more like this. So the brushes are really great. They're super versatile, and I want to talk about some of my favorite brush strokes today. So let's talk about the conventional brush stroke, which has us in the right hand going on the right side of the snare drum going up and down in a vertical motion, with 2 and 4 being on the downside and 1 and 3 being on the upside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the left hand, we have eternal circles, if you will. 1 and 3 being sort of at the 10 o'clock part of a small circle that you're going to create on the left side of the snare. So if you think of a little circle, on the 10 o'clock side is 1. On the 2 o'clock side is 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you put those things together, it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also add something called the palm up, which allows for you to get a snap on the before 2 and the before 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a lift before 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then those concentric circles are happening in the left hand. So the conventional stroke at this tempo would be palm up would be conventional. Palm up. Let's talk about a cool one for ballads. Let's talk about a really cool stroke for ballads. This is called smooth one. So in the right hand, you're going to do those eternal circles. So it's going to be 1, and this is for slow tempos. So it's going to be 1 full circle per quarter note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the right hand. Pick a place at the top part of the snare, and you're going to do from right to left, you're going to do 1, and then back, 2, and then back, 3, and then 4. So 1 and 3 is going to the left, 2 and 4 is going to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So start out by going in the opposite direction of each hand, and then both hands are going to go in the same direction. Opposite direction, same direction. So like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or double up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful shape. Okay, let's talk about another really cool stroke, and this is the trill stroke. So this is you going to be doing eighth notes in the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I'm choosing to start by going down to 1. So 1. If you can't see it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. do some fun tricks. When we press the side or the shoulder of the brush at the right angle, the flexibility of the wires on the brush, they can tap back and forth on the head and get a nice roll effect. Next, let's talk about the tip and stroke. This involves a triplet in the right hand and those continuing circles in the left hand. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, I want to talk a little bit about the mental state that I'm in when I'm playing brushes. When I'm playing with brushes, I find it very easy to create good natural time because in order to do the brush beat, we have to make these circles and we have to come back to the same point in the circle each and every beat, which is in itself a loop. So if we're listening to our loop and paying attention to how much time is going by on each revolution of the loop, then technically if we do that over and over again across time, then we're creating very good consistent time. So be aware of listening to yourself and be aware of not rushing your strokes and be aware of how it sounds when you play in an effort to achieve good natural time. I'm going to combine all the different strokes that I've showed you right now, and let's see if we can put it into a musical dialogue together. It should work. Of course, certain beats go with different tempos, but let's check it out. That's the trick. You can even just do circles in both hands like this. Or let's try the smooth one again. Let's also talk about something that's near and dear to me, which is the press roll, the mighty press roll. Also popularized by people like Art Blakey and Max Roach, Tony Williams, Papa Joe Jones, Philly Joe Jones. The press roll is an often looked over rudiment because of its lack of use potentially within modern music. But if we look at a very crucial art of drumming, it is the ability to create an even buzz roll. And part of the tradition of this buzz roll goes all the way back to New Orleans. So rhythms like this used to be played with the press roll or the buzz roll. So you can hear why it's called the buzz roll. And it's a really, really musical rudiment because it allows us to create length in drums where it's hard to create length, right? How do you elongate that one hit while you create buzzes behind it? So it becomes, and when we put two and two together, it creates a buzz roll, like this effect. And that's how we can create time. Even though it sounds like I'm obstructing time, I'm still very much aware of where the tempo is. So if we're building into a solo, for instance, a buzz roll is really convenient. Like Art Blakey would do something like this. Just sound like this. Or 1, 2, 3, 4 becomes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 becomes 1. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 becomes 1 is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's the beauty of the buzz roll. You can put it in different contexts. Right? So the buzz roll is really, really fun. It's an archaic rudiment that we should continue to keep alive. And I suggest that everybody get this together because it's the telltale sign of a matured and studied drummer if you know how to do a great buzz roll.